Hey everyone, Maya here from MaiStoryBook, and I am so excited that you are back here today to join me for MaiStoryBook's special Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month Read Aloud event, where every weekday this month I am sharing a new children's book featuring Asian characters or a children's book that was created by Asian illustrators and authors. Oh my goodness, my friends, there are so many incredible books in this month's lineup. So if you are interested in what we've read before or what we will be reading next, you can see the full lineup on my blog by clicking on that description down below. Also, if you follow along with MaiStoryBook YouTube channel and subscribe, you can check out the Asian American Pacific Heritage Month playlist, and you'll see all of our reading adventures and all the new ones that will be coming up right there. You can listen to them all at once and have an epic story time. Well, my friends, for today's interactive read aloud, we have a biography book. So remember, a biography is a story about someone's life. So it's a true story. So this is about someone who actually lived, and it's about her life and what happened and what she did. So this is about Gyo Fujikawa, and she was actually an illustrator. And do you remember what illustrators do? What is their job in a book? What do the illustrators do? Illustrators draw all of the pictures. That is correct. So illustrators draw all of the pictures. Gyo Fujikawa was a very special illustrator because she was one of the first illustrators to draw children's books that showed children of different skin colors. Before Gyo Fujikawa, the only picture books they would publish were picture books with children with white skin. So for children like me, and maybe you, if you have a different color skin, you would never see yourself in a picture book. Oh, well, thanks to Gyo Fujikawa, today we're seeing more picture books with children of different colors. Now, my friends, Gyo Fujikawa was Japanese American, and in this book, we're going to be reading a little bit about internment camps. And if you've never heard of that before, internment camps are something that happened in America's history where they were at war. During World War II, the U.S. was at war with Japan, and there was something that happened called the bombing of Pearl Harbor, where the Japanese military released a bomb on Pearl Harbor, and it caused a lot of destruction and death. But America thought, wait, if the Japanese dropped a bomb, then that means that all the Japanese in America might be spies. So everyone who lived on the west coast of the United States in California, American government thought they are probably spies because they are Japanese and the Japanese just dropped a bomb. And even though those Japanese live in America, some are even born in America, just because they are Japanese and look Japanese, we're going to be suspicious. So what they did is that they took all the Japanese people, or people who look Japanese, and they rounded them up and put them in what we call an internment camp. They made them leave their homes and forced them to live in this camp that was surrounded by soldiers and barbed wire, and they weren't allowed to leave. Now, my friends, remember, these are people who lived in America. Some were born in America. They had no idea what was going on with the Japanese military. So how does that sound to you? Does that sound like the right thing to do or a fair thing to do? No, it doesn't, right? That is actually a very sad part about American history, something that America should be really embarrassed about, because that was a very bad thing to do to people, its own people in its own country. Well, we're going to see how Gyo Fujikawa's family actually lived through that time and how it impacted her. Okay, friends, double thumbs up if you're ready to get started. Let's begin. The title of today's interactive read aloud is It Began with a Page, How Gyo Fujikawa Drew the Way. This book was written by Kyo Maclear and illustrated by Julie Morstad. So, the author, Kyo Maclear, the author does what in the book? The author writes all the words and the illustrator draws all the pictures. And this book was published by HarperKids, so big thank you to HarperKids for letting us read this story together and have this reading adventure to learn about Gyo Fujikawa. Now, if I take a look here on the page, what do you notice going on? Right, I see a woman here. This maybe looks like Gyo Fujikawa, a Japanese woman. And I see, some little kids over here. And notice, what do you notice about these little kids? They're little children of color, right? One has white skin, one has darker black skin, one has tan skin, brown skin. And it looks like, this looks like the page of a book. Maybe because it began with a page, book pages because she's an illustrator and looks like they're peeking up from behind. Alright, well let's learn about her because she was very important to bookmaking. So here's our title page. As the title of our book, it began with a page, How Gyo Fujikawa Drew the Way, our author and illustrator, and our publisher, HarperKids. And down here I see a pen or a special drawing tool. My friends, do you like to draw or do art? What do you like to draw or create? Wow, you sound like an artist. Okay, let's get started. It began with a page, bright and beckoning, so drawing you in. It wants you to come in and start covering the page. It began with a mother writing a poem and a father working a field and a little girl named Gyo drawing a picture. So I see Mom, this must be Gyo drawing a picture. Oh, looks like she has a little sibling. It was 1913 and Gyo was 5 years old. My friends, how old are you? So here's Gyo, and if you can see, what do you see she's drawing? A little sunshine. That morning, her mama said, "Ohayo, Sleepyhead. It's going to be a busy day. Good morning, Sleepyhead." And it was. And if I see here, I see all these different things that Gyo had to do on her busy day. What are some of the things Gyo was doing? Right, here she is. She's eating breakfast, getting dressed, out playing with the little sibling, drawing some more, playing dress up. Oh, lots of art, reading. What's going on here? Had lots of feelings that day. So she had a busy day right until nightfall. Mama's friends had come and they were full of talk. So here on these whiteboards, I see what the adults are talking about. We sailed to America with our best kimono to see what we could be. So kimono is a special Japanese dress. So they sailed to America with their kimonos to see what they could be. So it sounds like they used to live in Japan and then they sailed to America with these dreams of all these different things they could be. But such disappointment. We need the vote. We need rights. Oh, so this must have been a time where women did not get to vote. So they came to America for all these great things, new dreams, but when they got there, America didn't used to treat women very well either back in its history. Women didn't even have the right to vote. So they're a little disappointed. I'd be disappointed too. Gyo held her rice bowl and listened with curious ears. Did Gyo know what she wanted to be when she grew up? Not yet. My friends, do you know what you want to be? Ooh, if you're not sure yet, don't worry. You have a lot of time to figure it out. What she did know was that she liked to draw. She loved the feel of the pencil in her hand, the dance and glide of a line, how a new color could change everything. A bright splash of yellow, a sleepy stroke of blue. So different colors have different feelings, right? Every day she started with an empty white page and filled it with pictures. Oh, what are some things Gyo is drawing? Right, my friends, that is a great activity for you. You should get an empty white page and spend the whole day filling it up and see what you come up with. You have such creative imaginations. I bet it'd be beautiful. At home, surrounded by drawing tools and books, anything was possible. But at school, Gyo didn't feel that way. At school, no one said, "That girl sure can draw." No one noticed her colored pencils or paints. No one even noticed when she moved away. So if no one even notices when you're gone, do you think they noticed when you were actually there? What do you notice about this picture? Here's Gyo, and what do you notice about how she's standing and where she's standing? This picture shows me that Gyo was left out, excluded, right? Not included. Here are some girls over here, and Gyo's all alone by herself. What do you notice, my friends, also about how Gyo looks and how these girls look? These girls all have blonde hair, it looks like, and Gyo looks like she's the only Asian one. They are not being very inclusive and being kind to Gyo. Gyo's new home was a fishing village near San Pedro, California, a haven for Japanese Americans. So she moved to a place now that had other Japanese people just like her. A new life, roaming with her friends, Gyo felt weightless and free. Oh, So now I notice, what do you notice about Gyo and the other children? They're all together, right? A ferry ride away, so a boat ride away at her high school, Gyo sometimes still felt invisible among her mostly white classmates. Oh, I see this picture again, and what do you notice? She's alone. But her drawing caught the attention of two teachers. Who was this girl whose eyes missed nothing, who could sketch rivers and boats and birds like a dream? Miss Cole and Miss Blum saw the energy in each line of her drawings. Gyo was too poor to go to art school, but Miss Cole found money to pay her way. Oh my goodness, so these two teachers believed in Gyo and they helped her go to art school. Oh my goodness, teachers are so important, my friends, because teachers can really help you out and help you believe in yourself too. I'm glad you had some helpful teachers. Do you have a helpful teacher at school? I hope so. Gyo was nervous to leave her home for the buzz and bustle of downtown Los Angeles in California. Not many girls, and even fewer Asian American girls, went to college in 1926. So back then, girls didn't really go to college. So what do you notice about her classmates? They're all men, right? And she's the only woman, Asian American woman. But Gyo was determined. She sketched statues, flowers, and faces. Her sketchbooks filled up one after another. So did she let that stop her that there were all boys there? Nope. She is determined. That's a great adjective. Hungry to know more, Gyo set off for Japan, the land of her ancestors, to study traditional Japanese brush painting. But the teachers there were full of rules. Instead, she traveled the country doing her own learning, wood blocks, carving tools, inks made of soot. She lost herself in the prints of Hiroshige, Utamaro, and Hokusai. So she even got to go to Japan to learn about Japanese art, so that's where her ancestors were from, where her family was from. And it sounds like she went to art school there, but they had very strict rules, and Gyo wanted to do things her own way, right? So she went to go study art on her own. She looked at other people's art, learned how to use wood, carving tools. Wow, my friends. Would you want to go to a different country to study their artwork? Where would you want to go? She studied their artwork and floated in a beautiful sea of kimono. Look at all these beautiful traditional Japanese dresses. Which one's your favorite? Looks like Gyo's learning a lot about her culture and the artwork there too. Travel fed her dreams, but back in America, it was time to earn money. For the next few years, Gyo worked long days painting murals and drawing for magazines. Murals are those big paintings that you see on the walls of buildings. In 1941, she was offered a temporary job designing books at Walt Disney Studio in New York, a city filled with art and artists. So she gets to start drawing books for Disney, my friends. Do you like Disney? Well, it was hard though for Gyo to leave her family, especially her mother. I would be sad to leave my family too. But little did she know, things were about to get harder still. That tells me that that's something bad's gonna happen, right? What do you notice here? It's like there's a soldier, he has a gun, and how does the family look? How do they feel? They look scared of the soldier, and it looks like they're having to pack up and leave. You think this is what we were talking about in the beginning, internment camps? In early 1942, terrible things were happening. Bombs and gunfire rocked the world. America was at war with Japan. Gyo was shocked to discover that anyone who looked Japanese or had a Japanese name was now suspected of being the enemy. So anyone in America, even though they live in America, they do not live in Japan anymore, don't know what Japan is doing. Anyone who looked Japanese or had a Japanese name, people thought were an enemy. Japanese Americans living on the West Coast were ordered to leave their homes, their schools, their pets, their everything. They were forced to leave their homes, leave all of their things behind. They could take a little suitcase and were forced to live in these camps where they were guarded and watched by soldiers. Just because they thought they might be an enemy, even though they had no proof, my friends. Gyo, along with others living on the East Coast, was told to stay where she was. So Japanese Americans living on the other side of the United States, they were okay for right now. They were mostly sent into internment camps on the West Coast because that's on the West is where the bombings happened. On the West Coast, though, families preparing to leave tried to sell their larger belongings like cars and furniture to junk dealers. Since they weren't allowed to keep them anymore, they thought at least they could try to make money. But they were offered only pennies. So, my friends, how much does a car cost? Lots of dollars, right? Not pennies. Why do you think people were only paying pennies? Maybe they also thought the Japanese were the enemy and didn't want to give them money, or they thought, hey, well, you have to leave your stuff behind, so I'll just give you pennies because it's not like you're going to be able to keep it or sell it anywhere else anyways. How rude, huh? I won't sell, said Gyo's mother. Instead, she set everything ablaze. So instead of selling things for pennies, she's just going to set it on fire because she's not going to let someone take her stuff just for pennies. That is disgraceful, right? That doesn't sound right. She'd rather just burn it all. Gyo's family was sent to a prison camp far, far away from their home, and Gyo's heart was broken. So here, what do you notice about the camp where they have to live? Looks like they just have these small wooden houses. They all look exactly the same, right? And I noticed the colors, right? What do you notice about the colors? Just tans and browns. Nothing beautiful about this place, right? Gyo was on the East Coast, remember, so it's just her family. For the next 3 years, the world shrank, became tiny and terrible. Now when she gazed at a white page, no pictures would come. Why not? How is Gyo feeling? Gyo mailed her family letters and sent gifts for her new nephew born in the camp, but her heart would not mend. So her sibling even had a baby in the camp. Oh my. Eventually, though, Gyo began to draw again. She drew to keep her worries still and to save money her family would need. When angry strangers saw her as the enemy, drawing comforted her. So she's still going to make money, so when her family gets up, she can help them. And angry strangers see her and say not so nice things. When the world felt gray, color lifted her, and she wondered, could art comfort and lift others too? So drawing made her feel better, and she's wondering, could artwork also help other people feel better? My friends, when you feel sad, does drawing help you make you feel better? You should try it. Next time you don't feel so good, try drawing. When the war ended, the Fujikawas were released. With no house or savings to call their own, they had to start again. So even though these people took all their stuff, when they finally let them go, they didn't help them get their stuff back. They just said, okay, you're free. But now they have nothing. For Gyo, the next 15 years passed swiftly. There were stamps to create, store windows to decorate, a children's book of poetry to illustrate. There were 2 poodles who needed loving. Oh, she got some pets. Now when Gyo walked around the city collecting ideas for her pictures, she began to notice little changes around her. And if I look down here, I see some women holding signs, some men too. And if you can see and if you can read, do you see what the signs say? I'll read some to you too. They say, we support Southern sit-ins. Segregation is morally wrong. We walk for human dignity and segregation now. So this is a time, my friends, segregation is when people are kept separate. A time especially when blacks and whites were kept separate. But now she's noticing that people are protesting. They are standing up for what they believe in and saying, no, all of these rules are wrong. These rules that keep people separate are wrong. Still, though, there was so much that hadn't changed. At the library and bookshop, it was the same old stories. Mothers in aprons, fathers with pipes, and a world of only white children. So in books, women always stayed at home, fathers went to go work, but children were always white. It was always white people in books. What do you think Gyo's going to do about that? I think she's going to want to change that. Gyo knew a book could hold more and do more. A book, she told her poodles, can be anything that anyone imagines it to be. Gyo knew what she wanted to do. Every day she started with an empty page and filled it with pictures and words. When her book was done, she gave it to a publisher, and what or who do you think she drew on the pages? Children of all different colors, right? Not just white children, but the publisher saw babies, chubby-cheeked, squat-legged, bouncy-bottomed babies, naughty nice, oh so busy, toddler-crawling babies. But the publisher said no. Why do you think the publisher said no? Publisher, remember, was only publishing books, making books with white children. And what do you notice about Gyo's babies? They're not just white babies, right? You got black babies, Asian babies, Latino babies. No to mixing white babies and black babies. It was not done in the early 1960s America, a country with laws that separated people by skin color. So they said, nope, in real life, black and whites are kept separate, so in picture books, they also have to be kept separate. What do you think about that, friends? That doesn't sound like a good rule to me, huh? But Gyo would not budge. She closed her eyes and remembered all the times she had felt unseen and unwelcome. She looked the publisher in the eye and said, it shouldn't be that way. Not out there in the streets, not here on the page. We need to break the rules. So, even when the publisher told her no, did Gyo Fujikawa give up? No, she said we need to break the rules. My friends, sometimes rules are wrong, right? You can have rules that are not good. And when you have rules that are wrong, that are hurting some people, then you need to break them and need to stand up and say, wait, that's wrong. We need to break the rules and do it the right way. Rules aren't always right. You have to be very careful and figure out what are rules that are helping people, what are rules that are actually hurting people. And guess what, my friends? When she stood up to the publisher, when you stand up for what you believe in, let's see what happens. Then she waited for them to rethink their decision. The babies waited too, and waited, but babies cannot wait. Babies are not very good at waiting, right? What do you think the publisher is going to say? Gyo tells them, nope, we need to break the rules. We need to do it differently. And finally, the publisher said yes. And the book did well, very well. Babies loved it. So Gyo kept going. So what does the publisher realize? If I make a book that has babies of different colors, are people going to like it? And if people really like it, it makes some money, right? So is the publisher going to want more books like this? And it said even babies loved it. My friends, babies love to see themselves in picture books. They love looking at pictures of other babies. Welcoming kids in from the edges, from the corners, from the shadows, Gyo let each child find a place. Girls and boys are freed from pink or blue, sharing jokes, joys, mishaps, and bruises, all sprawling out across the bright page, ready for a bigger and better world. So Gyo Fujikawa helped all children see themselves on a picture book. She got rid of those stereotypes too, right? Only girls can like pink, only boys can like blue. That's not true, right? You can like any color you like. What's your favorite color? Right? So she let every child see themselves in a picture book, be like, hey, that kid looks like me. I can be free to do what I want, share joys, jokes. On her pages, she helped create change, helped create a bigger and brighter world, my friends. Even though maybe in real life people were still kept separate, maybe if they could see on the page, on the illustration, that they could be together, that could help create change. Thanks to her, we have children's books where more children can see themselves on the pages. And here, my friends, is a timeline of Gyo Fujikawa's life, if you want to pause and take a closer look. But here you can see some actual pictures of her. Here's her as a baby. Here's her more grown up, her family. Oh, there's her with her 2 poodles. The end, my friends. Wow, what an inspiring biography. This book is really special to me, my friends, because I would love to illustrate a children's book one day. And she really inspired me because she's the one who made it possible for me to see other children in picture books that look like me. Growing up, I didn't have as many children's books that showed Asian children. I read a lot of books that had white children. And now I'm noticing that there are more books getting published and made that show Asian children and children of other skin colors. And I'm really happy that's happening because seeing a book with an Asian child that looks like me that I can connect to makes me feel really good inside too. So, my friends, what's something you learned about Gyo Fujikawa or really liked about her life or about this story? Right. I liked how she stood up to the publisher and said, no, we need to break the rules because some rules are wrong, right? We need rules that make life better for everyone. Well, my friends, thank you for reading along about Gyo Fujikawa with me. Again, if you're interested to hear more of our read-alouds for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, please subscribe to my StoryBook YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you're ever looking for bookish crafts, my friends, you can always check out my blog for more reading resources. And my friends, if you want to share with me your art creations, if you want to get a white piece of paper, fill it up with drawings, and then share it with me, I'd love to see your drawings. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, on the blog, email, find all the social media links down below to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. But my friends, that brings us to the end of today's interactive read aloud. So I hope I see you for our next reading adventure. But until then, happy reading.